When reflecting on Gregory Peck's extensive career, a few films come instantly to mind. The biblical epic David and Bathsheba, the swashbuckling Moby Dick, both versions of Cape Fear, and the iconic horror film The Omen all made their mark in movie history. He's also played villains such as Nazi scientist Dr. Josef Mengele in The Boys in Brazil, and heroes like Catholic priest Hugh O'Flaherty in The Scarlet and The Black. Of course, his most famous role comes from the 1962 feature film adaptation of Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird, where he wowed audiences everywhere as Atticus Finch. His powerful performance has since been hailed as one of the greatest in cinema, and for good reason. In every way, Peck transforms himself into the physical embodiment of the ideals that Finch stood for, ripping the character straight from Lee's page and immortalizing him on screen. Despite To Kill a Mockingbird being Peck's most notable work, there is another compelling character study in his filmography worth exploring. Throughout his career, Peck starred in exactly 11 westerns, though only 2 of them were directed by the same man, Henry King. The first of their western collaborations, they'd make 6 films together in total, came out in 1950 and starred Peck as Jimmy Ringo, a character based loosely on the historical Johnny Ringo. Yes, the same Johnny Ringo who Michael Biehn plays in Tombstone, but this is a vastly different version of the gunslinger. As one of Peck's highest-rated westerns, The Gunfighter is a compelling picture that takes a different approach to the genre. Though the film's poster erroneously claims that his only friend was his gun, that couldn't be further from the truth. Who stars in The Gunfighter? The Gunfighter cast image via 20th Century Studios. The film follows Ringo at the end of his long and notorious career as a gunfighter, though calling it a career would be generous, as he rides back into the town of Cayenne to make peace with his past. Along the way, Ringo kills a young man named Eddie, Richard Yekel, who had taunted him into action after going for his gun first. After Mr. Frazzlebottom, as Eddie calls him, ends the young man's life, he's pursued by Eddie's 3 unnamed brothers, Alan Hale, Jr., David Clark, and John Pickard, who are coursing for revenge. Even after jumping on these men, taking their guns and horses, Ringo lets them go, knowing they'll likely pursue him further. Of course, they do, and that's where the story really begins. What makes The Gunfighter especially compelling is the way that Peck plays Jimmy Ringo. While most gunfighters are generally hard-boiled loner types reminiscent of Clint Eastwood, Peck teeters the line. Rather than playing Ringo as a careless, over-the-top troublemaker, not unlike how Johnny Ringo was portrayed in Tombstone, he plays everything very cool. Peck's Ringo doesn't get actively angry, shows genuine remorse, and practices incredible restraint, similar to Peck's famous To Kill a Mockingbird character. While he's lived a life of violence, you'd hardly know it by the way he holds or conducts himself. It's only his name and reputation that does him in. The nuance Peck provides for Ringo is startling, as the actor's generally mellow demeanor fits perfectly with the type of story The Gunfighter sets out to tell. Though his character here is vastly different from his subsequent works, it shows just how well-rounded and impressive a talent like Peck can be. With great material to work from, the screenplay was nominated for an Academy Award in 1951, and an exceptional director in Henry King. It's no wonder that The Gunfighter attracted Peck to the project. He even deemed it as one of the highlights of his own career, which is high praise for a man who disliked many of his own movies.